Continuing on with the whiskey category, we're going on with what is probably the oldest whiskey that has existed, being Irish whiskey. This bottle I have here, Bushmills, is the oldest active distillery in the world. Started in 1608. It's still producing great whiskey, and it's what we'll be using for all of our cocktails today. Alright, I don't have a whole lot to say about Irish whiskey, so let's just go on ahead and get started. I'm really excited for these. So the first cocktail we're making today is called the Tipperary. It's one of the oldest and, in my opinion, most delicious Irish whiskey cocktails that there is. And we have some really interesting ingredients in it, so let's just get started. We're going to start off with 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. And we're going to do 1 ounce of sweet vermouth. And then this is really what I was talking about when I said interesting ingredients, is green chartreuse. It gives every cocktail a certain sheen, even if it doesn't come out as green like this one. We're only going to use about ½ an ounce of that green chartreuse. And finally, our Irish Best. We're using 1.5 ounces of Irish whiskey. Just going to stir that up. Similar to all whiskey cocktails that you stir, you don't want to over-stir it, but you do want to make sure that you have at least a good mixture. Get our coupe glass or Nick and Nora. Just pour that in. And there you go. Cocktail number 1, the Tipperary. Cocktail number 2, we're talking about one called the Good Cork. This is a split-base cocktail. We're going to start off with 2 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. Then we're going to do 1 ounce of our Irish whiskey. We're going to do 1 ounce of mezcal. And finally, one of my favorite ingredients, ½ an ounce of Benedictine liqueur. Just going to stir that in. I'm going to pour that out. And finally, I'm going to do a quick apple slice garnish. Just drop that in. And there you go. Cocktail number 2, the Good Cork. The next cocktail that we're doing is called the Brotherhood. This is another, I'm tired of saying this, but it's another interesting one. I personally love this one. I think that it goes really well together, all the ingredients. So let's get into it. We're going to do another 1.5 ounces of our Irish whiskey. We're going to do 3/4 ounces of that same Benedictine. Then we're going to do half an ounce of Cointreau. The recipe calls for 3/4 ounces of Grand Marnier, but I substitute using Cointreau and cognac. But go ahead and use Grand Marnier if that's what you like. And 1/4 of cognac. Give that a little bit of a shake. And then just strain it out. And there you go. Cocktail number 3, the Brotherhood. Because of the flavors used in this one, I'm calling this cocktail, which is known as the nose to cocktail, a breakfast one. You'll see what I mean after we start. We start off with a whole egg going in. Not just the egg white, the whole egg. The egg, the whole egg, and nothing but the egg. Well, now we're going to add other stuff. We'll start off with half an ounce of maple syrup. I told you this cocktail was getting breakfasty. We'll add half an ounce of lemon juice. And finally, 1.5 ounces of our Ireland's Best. Since we have a whole egg in here, we're going to start off with a dry shake. Now, I have some ice already tempered. You don't want to put straight from the freezer ice in these cocktails because otherwise it'll break up the foam. Alright, now let's go on ahead and add our ice and give it a quick shake. With that, the cocktail is done. Just strain it out into a highball glass. We'll put a little bit of ice in, and there you go. Cocktail number 4, the nose to cocktail. Cocktail number 5, we have a pretty one known as the Irish Blonde. So we start off with a single dash of orange bitters. And then we go 1/4 ounce of Fino Sherry. And we do half an ounce of Cointreau. And finally 2 ounces of our Irish whiskey. And you just add your ice and stir. And when you pour it out, it really does have a blonde color that I think is beautiful. Not many cocktails, especially ones with whiskey, can achieve this blonde color, and I think that's a shame. But this one does, and it is cocktail number 5, the Irish Blonde. Cocktail number 6, we've got one similar to cocktail number 1, but this one's known as the Hearn. So let's get started. We're doing 2 dashes of orange bitters, 4 dashes of Angostura bitters, and we're doing 3/4 an ounce of our green chartreuse. We're doing an ounce of our sweet vermouth. And finally, 2 ounces of our Irish whiskey. Before we stir this one, we're going to prep the glass with a spritz or 2 or 5 of absinthe. Just, you really want to coat the glass. And stir. And you just pour it out. And you'll notice a certain sheen that the green chartreuse gives. And then to finish it off, 1 more spritz of absinthe. I completely missed the first one. But anyways, there you go. Cocktail number 6, the Hearn. Final cocktail of the day is called the Emerald. Surprisingly, this one doesn't use green chartreuse. We're going to do 2 dashes of orange bitters. This one's a very simple 3-ingredient cocktail. We'll do 1 ounce of sweet vermouth to 2 ounces of our Irish. Add the ice and give it a nice stir. And if you're wondering why none of these cocktails have garnish, you don't typically garnish whiskey cocktails. Very rarely will you see that, although it has become more popular recently. But with that, that is it. Cocktail number 7, the Emerald. So here we are at the end. These cocktails are all guidelines for this beautiful spirit. And these are just my 7 favorites. If you have any others that you like, make sure to put it down in the comments. Maybe I'll do a part 2 on this. But this is getting us close to all the spirits that I wanted to cover on my 7 favorite cocktails. This little series that I've done. Let me know any other spirits that you want me to cover. Maybe I haven't heard of it and I will do my research. But other than that, I wish to you all cheers. Have a good day.